If I could redesign the school system, school education system from the scratch, what I do? If I could do change the education system, that I see the gap in the old education system, then I would probably add some more practical way of educating the children rather than the just theoretical. I see lots of the educational, practical, very practical, real practical world education is given to the students nowadays. Yeah, education is very expensive, but but it is also possible that a good education can be provided to the average child in a very practical way. A best way to educate people, the best way to educate children is through the practical demonstrations. Why why I'm saying that? Why I'm saying this? Because what would you clearly understand when I say apple, 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 or where when I say the apple and I show to you the a real example of apple, which one would be better and effective? Of course, second one, because that holds the perception, that hold the real feeling, real demonstrations. That's just the example. In the junior level, in the kindergartens, there is a little bit a demonstration because we can afford that kinds of demonstration. But when we grow higher level, then the expenses has also grown very rapidly, and due to that, rather than the education is becoming the practical, it has becoming more theoretical basis. If I have to give the example regarding the Nepal, then totally the 4 year education where we have to learn through practically, there's totally like theoretical based educations. I was like 2 3 years ago when I was in Nepal and I visited to the offices of the uh, coding sections. Then I met that one person who is studying IT in the government school, and they are saying that they are not teaching the actual programming. They had to learn by themselves. So all the learning is theoretical basis. It's so old because they are living in a so old design schooling system that's not benefit to these new old systems, because every year the technology is changing. Every day the system demands different. So with the changing world, we are not changing. The system of education is not changing. So technology that used in the hospitalized sections are not changing. So that's how we are lacking behind. So one of the gap between the education system I find is that in the field of financial education also. As per my research, as when I believe our education system also designed to to dream only enough to survive, not to make a fortune, not to work out of our systems. Because when you work, when you study, when you graduate, what do you dream of? You dream of doing the job of medical field. You dream of doing the education in field of engineering, professorship in the management field. Isn't that? Why don't you think about doing a business of oneself? Why don't you feel? Why don't you dare to dream to build your own empire and give the job to others? That's why I'm saying this. For the ordinary average people, it's good because it helps people to make a living. But those who understand these education systems, who's probably gonna want to go out of this system and they want to make a fortune for themselves, they want to make a living for themselves. And understand the education system, understanding the rest of our life will be on the 95 job and very basic salary, which is only enough for our basic needs. So besides that, if we have to do something better than that, we have to come out of this system. And whoever understands this system has overcome. So I believe that besides only the theoretical and giving the theoretical basis past education, we need to be very practical. That is currently happening in the world, as well as financial education is also important, or the major subject that are missing behind in our education systems. We are only being taught to be a servant. We are only being taught to be doing job, not to do business. We are only being taught to be a slave. This is only my belief. This is what I see, what I heard also, and I also believe in that. And I also trying to connect some kinds of logic behind it. So if I could, in the last but not least, I want to say the education system right now is good enough to feed, to make a living. But if we want to go beyond that, we need something different. We need the practical educations. We need a gap that need to fill by educating the people, educating the children about financial educations, and also choice to select the courses. Thank you.